One. How's it going, everybody? I'm Matt Schlegel for NCTV here we got two of the four football captains for the new Canaan High School team. Tommy Root, Teddy Hood, thanks for being here, boys. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. We're excited for our game tomorrow against Richfield. It's going to be a good one.
All right. So obviously, last week you had your first game in the books. You beat Trinity 20-6. Now, typically, New Canaan, you guys really can run up the score on people, not necessarily in a bad way, but 14-point game is on your turf is pretty close compared to previous years. Would you say that was a less than stellar performance for you guys, or do you guys think the score did not necessarily indicate how well you guys played?
I wouldn't necessarily say it indicated how we played because we know our defense may be the stronger part of our team this year, so we don't have the same guys as last year who can run up the score. We know what type of team we're going to be, so I think we're not going to be the same team running up the score every game this year. We're going to have a little bit of a closer match.
And obviously, the big story coming in this year, as a student at the high school, we were all excited because we heard there's this kid transferring here who has all these D1 offers. He did not necessarily come in and take over the starting quarterback position right away. He was really battling. That's Drew Pine that I'm talking about, of course, with James Cravato and Spencer Williams. So over the course of the summer and leading into the season, this is for you, Teddy. How different is it to prepare for each individual quarterback because their style of plays are so different? And what does that do to a team when really you don't quite have a leader and a quarterback until the second week of the season?
Right. It's always difficult rotating three guys. We're trying to find that guy who's going to put us in the best position to win. So, James and Drew like to run the ball a little bit more. Spencer likes to sit in the pocket, I guess. So as a lineman, we can always expect Spencer to stay in the pocket and, always make his reads as long as you can. Whereas Drew and James will oftentimes try to, extend the play a little more, running outside the pocket. So as a lineman, it's definitely different. It's a different pace when each player's out there. But generally, we're just trying to block for him. We're trying to get the job done for whoever it is. And our rules say the same for each one. So, I think as the season's progressed, the line's definitely been helped by having those different types of quarterbacks because we're always prepared, to see different, formats of how the quarterbacks are playing.
All right, so this is a question either of you can go ahead and answer. Obviously, you talked about how the offense is a little different this year than last year. Last year, you guys had three really stellar receivers, and Kyle Smith, Andrew Johns, and Andrew DeFranco. All three are not there. Looking at the junior receivers last year to this year, there really weren't any that are still around this year because Ryan O'Connell's playing a lot more of a running back role. Tommy, you're playing a lot more on defense. So who are really the big pass catchers on this team? Because for the most part, they're guys that we're not really familiar with.
I'd say the main ones are Jack Holzer, Jack Rechterman, and Austin Bell. And also Justin Greco's one of those guys. He's a junior now. None of them really played that much last year, but they really stepped it up in the offseason and showed what they can do.
Yeah, and I would just say in these next couple games, you're really going to see them stand out. Last game, we had a ton of penalties that, we didn't get as many plays as we would have wanted to get off. So they're going to have a much bigger platform for these next couple games to really show the high school and the FCAC what they have, and that is a lot. We've seen it in practice. Personally, the FCAC doesn't really know about them, but as a team, we know we're confident with these guys and we're going to stick with them. So.
All right, so we're going to play a little game here. We're going to do a little word association. I'm going to just say a player, anything. You just got to shoot back what's through your mind. So, Teddy, this one's for you. Tommy Root.
Tommy Root.
Other than good looking.
Just absolute beast. Saw another side of Tommy in our first game, a fire that I've never seen before in Tommy, which, really excites the team, really gets everyone going. So,
Teddy Hood.
Stud. He's really just a movable force on the offensive line.
You guys are too kind. All right, Drew Pine.
Talented. He's a good player. Obviously he's a freshman right now, but he's really got a high ceiling. Once he gets, more, used to the playbook, I really think he's going to be able to show off his skill set, which is a pretty strong one. Same thing with the rest of our quarterbacks. So.
Yeah, I'd have to go with talent. He came in here. He didn't really know the offense that well, but his skills just showed, and they were through the roof when he came here.
All right, James Frere.
Missile. He's not the biggest player on the field, but he plays with probably the biggest motor on our team, and what he lacks in size, he definitely brings back with the punch, not the literal punch, but the motor he has, and just the aggression he plays with, which really helps him.
Anything to add?
That sums it up pretty well.
Turkey Bowl. You take this one.
Revenge.
Yeah.
You gotta, 4 years in a row. Gotta come back with a win this year.
So that's one thing that I've wondered. So hypothetically, let's just say you could choose right now. Would you guys win the 4th straight state championship or the Turkey Bowl? Assuming, obviously last year, a few years, like you said, big losses. Usually that's the most hyped game at this school. The two towns are rivals. Had to pick one, state championship or Turkey Bowl. Which would you choose?
We definitely come into each season preparing to try to win both. We've never really wanted to put ourselves in a position where we've had to choose. So honestly, I can't really answer that question. I love winning state championships. It would also be great to beat Darien. And we're going to keep preparing like that. We're going to keep trying to, win both those games. We got to take it one step at a time, obviously, to get to that position. We got to win ball games like this against Ridgefield, a really good team. So, when we get to that point, we'll definitely think about that. But we're trying to win as many games as we can this year. So I'm going to say both.
I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for that one. I'd want to win both of them as much as we can.
Yeah. So something to ask you specifically. You're a corner on the team. You're captain. This is kind of your secondary per se. Last year in the Turkey Bowl, not that any one player was necessarily responsible, but as a unit, the Darien receivers, they had a field day, and your secondary was exposed a little bit. You personally actually played pretty well, but what does that say? Like, what did you, as like the leader of the secondary, and obviously all the other guys who were there last year, how does that motivate you guys in the off season? Have you forgotten about that?
No, we haven't forgotten about it. I think last year we had a lot of blown coverages. Guys didn't really know what they were doing. This year we're kind of zoning in on that, making sure everyone knows what they're doing, communicating, and also off the field, making sure we're all kind of like a tight-knit group and that we're all not doing our own thing.
All right, boys. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Appreciate
All
it.
the time we got. Stay tuned for this and football versus Trinity and football versus Ridgefield on our channel soon.